Janahella here, aka the Rebel Browser, and we are with Nick, aka 8-Bit Heart. Trying things out for the first time and we'll see how it goes. So far, it's going. Previously, you saw us both in the barbershop cutting his hair. He still looks like mush, but a little less hair. And today, what are we gonna do today, Nick?
Butt stuff.
Butt stuff.
Talking about toys.
All right, so we're gonna, try to get this thing going. What are we naming this?
Toy talk? Toy boys?
Nick wants to be a toy boy.
I think it's funny. I think it's really funny, to be honest with you, but I'm not attached to anything as of yet.
So yeah, we're gonna try to figure this one out. Whether we have a title or a channel name, that's a whole nother story, but it's a work in progress. This is my buddy Nick. We've been friends since high school and we both like toys. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about toys, whether we're right or wrong. We're just gonna talk about certain aspects of toys, kind of our hobbies.
I think what you're trying to say is that we're de facto the hands down authority on toys. And if you disagree with us, you need to reconsider not only your opinions about action figures and everything in the ecosystem, but also how you got to this point in being wrong this long.
That long and wrong.
Mm-hmm. Long and wrong, that's me, baby.
What about toys you want to talk about?
The new Transformers Kingdom wave that's coming out, which is the new, I guess the third part of the trilogy for Transformers. So we had Siege. Was that the first one?
Yeah, War for Cybertron. Was it?
No, War for Cybertron is the trilogy that we have. First we had Siege, which was the Siege of Cybertron, and then we have Earthrise, and now we have Kingdom, in which the timeline gets all screwy.
I kind of get what they're going for. It doesn't really work though.
It depends. So like, okay, the canon I know personally is the IDW comics. That's the stuff I read, and that's what my collection is.
FYI, he's way wrong. G1 or go home.
G1's cool. I'm not saying it isn't, because that's what IDW is based on. But I mean, there was Cheetor, and there was Rhinox, and there is Rat Trap already in the IDW comics. So I'm kind of trying to conflate these two things in my head, because from what I understand in the toy line story is that there is a timeline that's gotten smushed together, and now everyone's just fighting each other for whatever reason. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I remember reading. But in the G1 canon that you're following, it goes G1 then Beast Wars, but this one is Beast Wars then G1, because they're from the past.
Is that how it is in the comic?
No, in the comic they're their own thing.
Oh,
in like moving
so
forward,
there's no continuity within that timeline at all.
Right, Cheetor and the gang and all the Predacons, they exist in parallel.
Clearly, I'm not reading the comic books at all. Well, Nick is wrong. So G1 or bust. But hey, we're talking about Transformers Kingdom, and I'm pretty juiced. Side note: we grew up with a little bit of G2. We grew up with Beast Wars, absolutely, and so this is going to be fantastic. Looking forward to Megatron. I think that's the first one that I'm looking forward to, is the actual Beast Wars core crew. So Megatron, Optimus Primal, Rat Trap look great. Cheetor looks like a foot.
Cheetor is not an improvement over his original Beast Wars release.
Or even in the Classics version. They made a Classics version of Cheetor. We'll put the picture on the screen right here. And it sucked. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. And this figure is barely an improvement from that one. I can't say I'm juiced for this Cheetor. I mean, I'm glad to get an updated version. I just wish it was better. He doesn't even have a gun. He isn't, what? He's an axe or a pick?
It's like a club tail thing.
It's a pick. I think the only aspect I like of the Kingdom Cheetor is the fact that his legs sit behind him. You know, that's kind of Beast Wars era style.
Yeah, because he had it like on his, it was like his backpack.
And yeah, because in the toy, it was behind him, but then it sat, if this makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, so it sat this way versus this way behind him, if this makes any sense at all. He looks cool, to a certain degree. His articulation looks great, but when you compare him next to the Masterpiece, he is absolutely atrocious. That's not Cheetor.
Okay, but comparing him to the Masterpiece is unfair.
To
a degree. Now, I think there is going to be a lot more parallels that we can draw between the masterpieces as this releases. That rhymed.
Reese's Pieces.
Because, I mean, like, if you look at Blackarachnia, you know, it's clearly, like, inspired by the Masterpiece transformation. If you've seen any of the videos on it. What's the other one that does it? I guess
Megatron? Megatron, yeah. Megatron is pretty spot on to the Masterpiece counterpart, minus the dinosaur head. I'm not a fan of... It looks like Jurassic Park, okay? I like the Beast Wars animated version of the dinosaur head. It looked mean. He had a little curl on his lip. This one just looks like a T-Rex from Jurassic Park, which is fine. It's not my Beast Wars Megatron.
I'm okay with it. I'm a little disappointed that it doesn't include the little toothbrush.
Or his duck.
Or his duck. I'm sure that's something third parties are gonna, you know, fix, or even 3D printing. That is to say, I think that third party, you know, maybe Perfect Effect is gonna come out with a head swap for it.
Does he need a new head?
Not a new head for his robot form, but his T-Rex head, like you were saying.
Oh, I hope so.
Because there is a difference. They went more realistic with the head sculpt, and you know that's not the Megatron that I'm particularly, you know, fond of. I get what he's saying. It has the snarl to his face, but it's fine. It's fine. Like, I'm way happier to buy this than the $450 Masterpiece Megatron, which I almost pulled the trigger on.
Yeah, and then you see about his crotch breaking. That's exactly the reason why I didn't want to get it, because it's perfect, minus the fact that his lower half will rip right off, which is kind of indicative of Beast Wars Transmetal's Megatron, where if you had one, my waist is no longer connected. You know, he's broken from the waist down. So.
Because of me, actually. Jan was going through all of his cool stuff, and then he pulled that one out, and I was like, oh, nice, I remember this. I had it when I was a kid. Popped it right in two.
So, for the video's sake, we're going to make note that Nick owes me a Megatron.
That's fine. That debt didn't go away. I'll buy you when they inevitably do his G2 Transmetal form. I'll get you. Oath. His wave mate for this release is another Earthrise Optimus Prime. I have one. I guess it's cool. You know, more people want that Optimus. You know, especially you got to factor in that, you know, not everyone buying this is a collector. We're a very small fraction of the install base, the buyer base. What would you call that? Of the consumer base.
I guess general consumer, right? I mean,
yeah.
We're collectors first and foremost.
You're a collector first and foremost.
Yeah.
I don't know what I am. I'm a photographer.
It changed the screen. It's no longer purple, and that sucks.
We talked about Cheetor and Blackarachnia. We have not talked about Warpath.
So who do we got? We got Warpath, who looks fantastic. Minus his feet. His feet are a little big for my liking, but he is an upgrade.
He has clown shoes, though. He has clown shoes. It's all right. It doesn't look great, but I mean, like, it looks better than the Thrilling 30 version we got.
No.
Yeah. That's the one where his, like, arm or his, like, hand collapses down into his big, like, cavernous arm.
Yeah.
It looks like a fat woman's back of the arm where it, like, jiggles.
He's a pretty neat figure. Especially when you look at how streamlined he compacts into...
I'm not saying he's not a neat figure. I'm saying that the Kingdom's release is objectively much better.
Smaller.
That could change when we actually get them in hand. Caveat.
He looks a little weird. I
think he looks great. Jan just...
I'm into it, but
wrong.
He's... I don't know, there's something missing about him, right? He looks a little too stout. I mean, granted, yeah, he's a... What was that size class called in the cartoon?
Minibot?
He's a Minibot, right? So I get it, he's supposed to be small. But when you look at him in, you know, amongst the other Autobots, he stands pretty, you know, in line with everyone else. The toy just looks a little too stout. He looks stumpy, right? He looks stumpy. Especially when you see his big feet, little legs, his head with his little white mouth now, or little white bit right here.
Well, he's being socially responsible, Jan. He's wearing the mask.
And we're not.
Well, we're in the same bubble, you know, so.
Yeah. Okay,
Blackarachnia. Deathbed sick. I am super excited for Blackarachnia as a toy. She had a super cool Masterpiece release. It was very impressive to see how they, smushed up her like lithe body into that like big bulbous spider.
Thorax?
Is it a thorax? I think the thorax is the middle piece. I think that's the
Abdomen? No, that's thorax, isn't it?
I think our abdomen's the middle piece, but it's different for insects.
Well, for spiders, only have two, so it's just the head and a thorax, right?
Maybe.
Well, we're gonna put a little screen grab right here of what the anatomy is of a spider, and comment below on who's right and who's wrong.
Well, it's gonna be whatever it says here on the screen. I mean, this if you read this, it's cheating. You could just read this. When you read this edit here that says who's right, comment down below to confirm you read this.
So I'm pretty juiced for this version of Blackarachnia because the other version that came out was the Takara version, which was a remold of the animated figure, which is cool. I mean, I like the fact that he updated an animated figure into the more classics line of Transformers, but I wasn't gonna spend $40 on that figure, $50 even, I think. Granted, I did spend money on some of the Takara versions of like Blur, Cup, RC because their versions were far superior than Hasbro's. But this one, I didn't have too much of attachment, so getting the Kingdom version of Blackarachnia really helps. I mean, I'm kind of juiced on this one. Does she have a gun?
I think she has the crossbow.
Sick.
I could be wrong on that one. Fact checked here.
Yeah, because the thing is, I'm thinking the photos, there's no picture of her with a weapon, right? As far as I've seen. I haven't seen any pictures of her with holding a weapon. And kind of going by the design, I don't know where they could put one unless they
stow it under her.
Kind of like the the original toy. But
oh yeah, that's right. Her like missile launcher with a string plugged into her spider butt. Either way, I'm completely jazzed on this release of her. I will absolutely integrate most of the Beast Wars Kingdom release into my main collection. But some of them don't get integrated in there because they don't have any presence in the IDW.
Who?
So I already have some. Like I have Optimus Prime, is like G2 release.
Wait, which one?
So I have two. I have the one where it's his Is it G2? It's his Transmetal form.
Okay.
But not the one where he has the skateboard. It's the one where he turns into a jet and an awful tank.
I have to sneeze.
Bless you, watermelon.
Watermelon worked a little bit.
Yeah.
Lingering.
So there's two. There's that Transmetal version, but it's like late series Transmetal, and one where it's that form, but he's like in his all black gorilla.
Oh, the SDCC one?
It is, yeah. And he comes with a crown, so I don't have those with my main collection. I mean, like, it's in the same area, but I mean, like, it's not in the same...
It's not in your headcanon.
Yeah, it's not in my canonical tier of them existing at the same point in time. They'll go with the other Misfit Kingdoms figures.
So currently, I don't have a Beast Wars display going on. So I think for me, they're going to be on their own little corner. I didn't put that Optimus in my display. I put that one with my Optimus Prime display. So like... Just a miscellaneous other Optimus Primes. I didn't want to bring out the entire toy series out for display because for one, I don't have a lot of room. So he sits with my other Optimus Primes. Primuses? So he sits with them. But for this one, I think since it is more... I don't know. I feel like the aesthetic for these ones are going to stand out in its own right. So they deserve their own little cubicle, cubbyhole.
Yeah.
Section.
It's not that they clash. They don't clash at all from what it looks like. Because I mean, Warpath doesn't look out of place.
No.
With Blackarachnia and who's the fourth one?
Cheetor.
Cheetor's the third one. So we got Cheetor, Warpath, Blackarachnia, and
Run Amok.
No, Run Amok comes out in this last wave of
Dinosaur dude. Or skeleton dude?
It is the dinosaur dude. So we got to talk about the Fossilizer.
We don't need to talk about that guy. That thing.
We absolutely need to talk about name here.
What is it?
You just put his name in with your voice while I'm speaking, like this. His name is...
Suck.
I think it is an absolutely fantastic looking alt mode. It is probably the worst looking robot mode that I've seen released in a long time, and he's a weaponizer type.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of these knockoff dinosaur toys that were multicolored. You could see the skeleton bits, and they were robots that transformed, but they weren't Transformers, and that's exactly what that thing reminds me of.
Yeah. No, they absolutely, like... Hasbro went to the flea market for ideas on this one, and they found it.
So he's a stupid weaponizer. Was he necessary? Absolutely not. Is it neat? Absolutely not. What's the point?
I disagree. I think it's kind of neat how they're doing some retcon with Optimus Primal.
How is it even? Oh, because of the weapon.
Yeah, because of the weapon, exactly. Because like I got the toy of Optimus Primal on Christmas. My mom got it for me, so I got Optimus Primal, and he was one of the sickest toys I've ever had. Hard comparison with him and Megatron, because I got them both at Christmas.
Lucky guy.
Yeah, and Optimus Primal was super sick because he's got the shoulder cannon thing going on, I think. He had the arm that had a double buster cannon in it, and like, if you know me, I love Mega Man stuff, especially arm cannon stuff. But his one weird one-off weapon was a mace that had like a skeleton face in it, and it like came on like a string, so the head separated from the handle, and you could like, you know, swing it around and, you know, smack your cousin in the head with it. It was really out of place, and I watched the cartoon as a kid, and it never popped up once.
He's waiting for that one little bit where he swings a mace around.
Yeah, exactly. Nope. It's like whose skull is this? Well, now we know whose skull it is. It looked like something out of Killer Instinct, because like not only was it like a skull with like this crazy like wild grin on it, but it had like punk spikes for its like hair. Weird item. I appreciate the callback they're doing with it. Am I excited for the toy in a Transformers mindset? No. Am I excited for the toy just because it's a neat toy? Yes, absolutely. I will 100% be taking pictures of its cool dinosaur fossil skeleton mode, and it will go somewhere on my desk and not with the other Transformers.
Because I am getting the wave, I think if I get that figure, it's just gonna be in dinosaur mode, skeleton mode, somewhere. Yeah. Right? It's going to be an installation, essentially. It's not even going to be part of a collection of Transformers. It's just going to exist.
Yep.
And why it exists? Couldn't tell you. There's nothing to it. That's nothing to my headcanon. It's a totally useless piece of plastic that I'm unfortunately going to be paying for just because I'm buying the whole wave. And yeah, that thing sucks.
I think it sucks with an asterisk. I think it sucks Transformers-wise, but I think it's a neat toy.
But when you think about it though, right? They could have literally integrated any other character that were missing. There's so many characters that have yet to come to pass since this whole classic style Transformers have come out. They're overshooting it with the skeleton garbage.
They're taking a risk. I think during one of the Hasbro Fan Fridays, one of the, I don't know if you'd call him an engineer, but one of the toy designers said that he was inspired by going to a museum or something. And like, you know, it's cool, you know, you got to take risks with your work. But I mean, like, is an established franchise the place to try out these new things? However, I am being hypocritical here because I was telling Jan, you know, a few months ago that like, maybe I'd be okay with some new Transformers. You know, there's a lot of new Transformers that were introduced in IDW's, you know, Lost Light series. They were fine, and now we're kind of getting it with the Hasbro Select series, but none of them. They're all repaints. Like I got Bug Bite coming in. I have no clue who he is. He's just White Bumblebee.
I think the best part about Bug Bite is that it's a mix between Bumblebee and Cliff Jumper, right? So it's a Bumblebee head mold and a Cliff Jumper body.
Huh.
So that's the only appeal for me to say, oh, that's neat. Other than that, I have no attachment to the character besides the fact that they're using 2 characters in essentially 1 toy mold.
He's a Frankenstein.
Yeah, I think I have Hubcap coming in.
He's in my POL.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, it's gonna be every toy I buy, I essentially photograph and put on my Instagram. It's gonna be hard delineating Hubcap and Bumblebee to the dirty, unwashed viewers.
Who else is in that mold? Oh, there's also the little mini Optimus Prime.
So we should talk about the core class then, because core class kind of replaced Legends class.
Yeah.
This release.
Is this the first line they're introducing core class?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember core class being a thing. Like I started like really heavily collecting, the start of actually just past the start of Generations. Like Thrilling 30 had already completed by the time that I picked it up, and I went back and got it mostly everything.
From Ross.
From eBay and from Jan actually, and buying his overflow.
That I bought from Ross.
I see. We've come full circle.
See?
Okay, so core class is neither Legends nor Scout class, and it's a very small scale, weird intermediate thing. Now, Rat Trap is a core class, mostly to fit in scale with the other Beast Wars releasing there.
I'm fine with that.
And I'm totally okay with that too. But when they do Optimus and who else is in there? There's another Fossilizer.
Oh,
in
another
there.
bone dude with like weird hair this time around.
And I'm totally okay with that one, again, as a toy standpoint. But the running theory out there is that they have core class Optimus Prime coming out to fit inside the Arc Titan.
Oh, is that what it's for?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what's being talked about on the TFW
I'm
boards.
done with that.
And if that's the case, could not be happier. Please do that.
I think the only stupid aspect about this particular Optimus Prime releasing with Beast Wars is the fact that in the Beast Wars cartoon, the Beast Wars characters were small because they had to, downsize to conserve energy, right? That's part of the lore. And then when you see them in comparison to actual Transformers G1 characters, they're like 3 times the size.
Yeah,
and so it's kind of big. So it's kind of mixed up how this is backwards, right? You have a little Optimus Prime with a big old Optimus Primal. If whatever he said is true, then yeah, I'll take a little Optimus Prime. It's just weird that's coming out with Beast Wars figures because of the size discrepancy in the cartoon. And
out of the core class, there's Optimus Prime, another fossil guy, Rat Trap, and I'm looking up right now.
Time out. So I got a pretty cool water bottle the other day. For one, it's cool because it's matte black. I like all black. Clearly, don't mind the shirt. But the cool thing about this water bottle is magnets. How do they work? Like this. That's neat. I'm gonna put an affiliate link in the description below if you want this water bottle because it's great. Everything's cold, it's magnetic, matte black. You can't go wrong.
There are in fact only 3 core class Transformers, so we covered them all.
Oh, nailed it.
So that means we have to move on to Voyager. And that's where things really just start popping off.
Excited. I think we have Cyclonus coming in as well as Optimus Primal, and both look fantastic. So I'm excited for Cyclonus. I need 2 because in Transformers the movie, they had Cyclonus and his Armada. Armada never existed beyond that one statement, but I still need 2. I don't care. It's part of my headcanon. The secondary character never came about after that scene, and I need 2.
The thing that I'm most excited about for Cyclonus is to make a segue into Studio Series 86. Is it going to be the same scale?
I think so.
As
Scourge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's weird. So Scourge is going to be in that with Hot Rod. Hot Rod looks like a slightly larger, more detailed deluxe.
Yep.
But Scourge looks like an actual Voyager, so it's a little weird. I'm pretty sure the height is going to be in line with Cyclonus,
I hope.
There hasn't been any side-to-side pictures yet. I'm okay with him being a little shorter than Cyclonus because Cyclonus is kind of like a taller dude. He's tall, kind of gangly. He's taller than Galvatron, sure enough. So if he's taller than Scourge, I'm okay. But if he's considerably taller, I don't know how it's gonna sit.
I am a little concerned with Hasbro splitting like toys that we've been not necessarily been asking for, but like they know we want. And for them to split it off into the Studio Series 86 line, I'm concerned because then it's not really going to adhere to the same scale as Generations. Even though that these are clearly made in the same style of Generations, being animation accurate. You know, it's a little concerning, but I mean, like, it's concerning in like a pearl clutching kind of way. Like, oh, how dare they?
Kind of excited for it, but also kind of skeptical. We did not talk about Optimus Primal.
His ape mode is by far the weakest, but that's fine because...
A little too realistic.
Well, the main issue for me is that, like, in ape mode, you can clearly see that that's his
focus.
Well, no, his waist is literally just Optimus Primal's gargantuan baboon ass, but used as a crotch.
That's how it was in the original toy, right? I mean,
it's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal that the ape mode isn't very amazing. It's not perfect. It's not the masterpiece.
comment below if you display your toys in their alt mode. Personally, they're all in transform robot mode.
Exactly. And I think his robot mode is just... Mwah! Jan hates this, by the way. Mwah! Mwah! Mwah!
Anyways, so I think my only gripe with Optimus Primal is his arm cannons. Too small.
Really?
Too small.
How would you like them to pull it off in that size constraint? Do you want him to have Popeye forearms?
He's a gorilla. He should have Popeye forearms.
Yeah, as a gorilla, but he doesn't have Popeye forearms in robot mode, does he?
He kind of does.
He's swole, but he's not like, eating. He's not on the spinach.
Yeah, we're on spinach. No, so he's supposed to have bigger arm cannons, right? I'm not saying give him gigantic freaking Gatling gun arms. He's not freaking Black Widow. But what he needs...
His Black Widow has the yokest of arms.
Black Widow has bigger arm cannons than this upcoming Optimus Primal. Let's be real. It's like that little meme rocket that came out during Iron Man. Iron Man 2, arms out, poop. They should be a little bit longer. That's what she said.
I think it's gonna be okay, because I'm probably not gonna display mine with the arm cannon out. Like, I'll absolutely use it for a couple, photos or anything. But I think on the whole, this Optimus Primal at this scale, it's good. Chef kiss animation.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those figures that did not get that little bit of extra. You know what I mean? Like, he's missing that extra.
I think the extra is yet to come with that same figure. Because if you look at his chest piece assembly, it's got, like a couple of maybe hidden ports in it. And that, to me, means that they're going to release a Scorponok Voyager down the line. And he's going to get that bee mine attached to his...
stuck to his chest?
Yeah, which was a really cool episode. Very stressful as a child.
Yeah.
I remember being genuinely concerned for oh no, Optimus Prime, you can't do anything now because there's a bomb that's sucking his life juice out of him. So I think that's everything. We've covered Kingdom, what we set out to talk about. Talked some smack about third party and Masterpiece.
I think the third party discussion can go deeper. Obviously, all these discussions can go way deeper if absolutely need be. We messed up my living room to get this thing sorted, and it's working so far. So we'll definitely bring some content down the line. Hopefully with some better backdropage.
Maybe. Check out my Instagram here.
All right, how do you want to do an outro?
Goodbye.